What's good? It's your boy Twiz. The creators of Crayta did an AMA earlier today on Reddit, and there were a lot of questions being asked. I decided to compile a list of the best questions and bring them here for you guys on YouTube so you don't have to shift through it yourself to find all the good stuff. Enjoy. Is an educational version something you might consider down the line?
We're very excited about the possibilities of using Crayta as an educational tool, particularly with its collaborative nature, allowing many users to help each other build a game in real time, or a student and teacher work together within a script. I don't think we have any specific plans to share at this time, but it's certainly something we're considering.
This right here is definitely a good idea, and truth is, they don't really need to make any changes to the way Crayta is for it to be used as an educational tool. It's just up to the teachers to come up with lessons that people can follow. The game seems simplistic, it looks kind of like Fortnite, has features in it kind of like Minecraft, and this will be a very easy game to tiptoe people into programming and into level design. I think this is a great idea. Let's move on to the next question. Seems like a huge opportunity in conjunction with the Chromebooks for educational program. My kids already use Chromebooks at school. If they ever go back, and to have a whole platform to develop games with classmates would be a hit.
Definitely, it's an opportunity that we'll look to make the most of. Stadia is so well suited to use in schools with the low hardware requirements. Smiley face.
Oh wow, another education question. You know, they're right, man. The schools usually don't have very powerful computers, and they often use Chromebooks. Crayta having a low power requirement because it's being streamed would actually be perfect. All right, next question. I'm really enjoying the game at the moment. I've never asked before, but what made you go for the cube-shaped building method? What made you go for the style you've chosen? How did you pick what costumes to put in game? I think my favorite at the moment is Nightwalker. Nightwalker, that's like a prostitute, right? A streetwalker. I mean, let's get back to it. Also, how many different drones can you unlock/buy? My current favorite is the cat, Ralph. Hey, that's Ralph Gaming Stadia. I know that dude. Hey, what's up, Ralph?
We decided on voxels for a number of reasons, but partly because they are so easy to create with. Want to build a house? You can build something in seconds and adjust the proportions of it even faster. We want to make creation as easy as possible, and this was an obvious route. The art style is a longer answer. We wanted something bright and optimistic, a style that fits with any game a creator might make, any genre, with characters that are expressive, appealing, and also fit in those environments. Coming up with an art style that had no base in one theme or even a place in time meant stripping it back to what the platform was about, a tool set or a modeling kit. And those things are usually simple, easy to read visually, and fun to play with. Choosing costumes was the most fun. To start with, we wanted a range across potential game themes: cowboy, wizard, sportswear, etc., and from there on in we went with the content-packed themes. But basically we went with what was cool, awesome, and appealing. Drones, to start with, there is 6 and with more to follow.
I really like that answer. You know, I really agree with that. I like how when you look at the characters, you can tell they definitely pop and stand out from the background. That's something I'm cool with. I don't really mind the way the game looks. The only problem I have with any visual aesthetic on the game, the animations could use a little bit of work. They're not exactly the best, but they're not deal breaking. I'm not going to count that against the game. And in fact, didn't they say something about improving the animations in the future? Either way, the game looks great. Not going to hold that against it. Let's move on. When will we be able to upload our own assets or our own meshes?
This isn't something that's available at launch, but it's high up on the list of things we want to do. We're planning to add an asset import pipeline for users to bring their own creations into Crayta in the future. A feedback system will open up at launch. Make sure you have your say, as the importance of feature requests will be determined by players.
If they really allow us to upload our own assets, this game has the potential to get bigger than Roblox. We need to keep our eye on this, and if Google really lets them do this and makes it really easy for people to sign up and try out Stadia, this is going to be a game changer. Do you have any plans on increasing the player count to 20 plus, 30 plus, 50 plus, or 100 plus, etc.? Thanks.
Hi, at launch we're supporting up to 20 players. Games will generally perform better with fewer players, so you can tune it to fit the game you've made. You can use the tools in the editor to keep an eye on this. We hope to raise the player cap in the future as we make performance improvements, though it'll be a while before we're looking at 100 plus.
I'm going to be real with you guys. I know a lot of you guys want to make big open world games that have hundreds of players in it, but those are going to be really hard to make, and I doubt you're going to do them well. And if you could, focus on games that have a small amount of players so you can fine tune it and make games that are really fun for a small amount of people playing. I know streamers might want their whole audience in there, but I still say the 20 player limit is spot on. They will eventually open up for more players, but focus on making games that are really good for a small amount of players first before you try to tackle games that are made for a lot of players. It'll be easier on you, and it'll be more enjoyable. What's with RPG-like games? Are there any NPCs? Can I program NPCs myself?
One of our starter games is an adventure RPG which has things like a saved inventory, shop, pickups. That'd be the template to start from for this type of game. NPCs aren't currently possible at the moment, but that's definitely on our roadmap. Look out for the feature requests board that'll be coming at launch if you'd like to determine where that comes priority-wise.
Alright, good to know. NPCs won't be available at the start, they are coming eventually. And I also hear you can still kind of code your own NPCs anyway. If you have an idea that requires very simple AI, you'll probably still be able to pull it off. Will I be able to create card or board games and turn-based combat? Type D&D.
That's certainly something that should be possible, yep. Our UI system is HTML, CSS based, so someone experienced in that area could potentially make a really impressive card game. I think someone in our studio made a little voxel chess demo too. Turn-based combat sounds very cool, however currently we don't support NPCs out of the box, so it might be tricky to have characters that aren't controlled by other players, although you can certainly try and write some scripts to control meshes like robots, or kit-bashed creations made up of lots of meshes, in a turn-based combat game.
See, I told you, you can still kind of script your own AI. So you want to make like a complex D&D game? Yeah, you'll be able to do it, man. But if you don't already have programming experience, something like this is going to be pretty rough. So I can tell you right now, just by looking at the game, almost anything you can think of will be possible as long as you're willing to use the models, or really with the voxels, you can really just make whatever you want. But I highly advise you guys, start simple. And I say this as somebody who has a programming background. If this is your first time putting something together, start with something really simple. Don't try to go out there and reinvent the wheel and create something incredible, because something like that is going to take you months to do. All right, and especially being brand new, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes and you probably won't finish it. Work on completing very simple products before you try to do something that's really complex. Which Lua teaching materials would you recommend for entry-level creative players and experienced coders, respectively?
We have a number of streams on our YouTube channel which cover aspects of using Lua, such as this one on using Lua scripting to make a football game. Otherwise, we have our API docs now available on our website. I also find this one really useful as a quick reference to Ctrl+F just to check up on how a bit of Lua works, as it gives nice examples of all aspects of Lua.
Basically, just go to the website and look at their API, and also check out some of their previous streams where they go over it. It's going to be quick and easy to learn. I know if it's your first time coding, it might not seem so, but it is pretty simple. You'll get the hang of it. When State Share was first announced, it seemed like a situation where someone might get to, say, a boss fight, then share a link for their users to jump into the game right where that boss fight is. Basically, you jump in, as me, at the point and see if you could do any better. Is there an alternate implementation of the State Share feature? Something that the feature can do as an option B for using it that you are using? Or did you work with Stadia team to develop your version of that feature? In essence, creating option B that didn't exist before.
Hi there. State Share Beta is a really powerful system, and it's really going to be up to each Stadia title how they want to use it. We've chosen to use it, generally, as a link to a particular game or game server in either Create or Play, but under the hood it's basically the same thing, some data that describes where in the Stadia game you are. So your option A and B aren't really two different things.
So what he's saying is each different game developer chooses how they want to use State Share, and Crayta chose to use it in a way that lets you jump into levels. Okay, alright, well there you go. What sort of types of games can be made, and what type of moderation will be provided to keep anything inappropriate from being seen?
A huge variety of different game types can be made. Check out the showcase videos on our YouTube channel for some inspiration. Laughing face. In terms of moderation, when a user publishes their game, anyone who plays it will be able to report it for any inappropriate content, and we will moderate reported games. Otherwise, images that are uploaded, either for the game thumbnail or for use in your in-game UI, will be moderated by us before appearing in-game.
Y'all remember helping daddy, right? But nah, real talk, this is probably the best way they can do it. So first something will be uploaded, and then once it's reported, they remove it. That means every once in a while, guys, we're gonna see something inappropriate. This is just how people are on the internet. They like to do shit like this. Now, I wonder how they're gonna handle bans and stuff, because obviously you want to ban and remove people that are constantly uploading inappropriate stuff. Will they just take away their ability to upload, or will they just ban them from Stadia or Crayta altogether? We're gonna have to wait and see how this happens. Hey guys, just be on the safe side. Don't make anything too bad, or if you do, don't publish it to be shared. Will we be able to look at the code / use it from an already published game?
We don't allow users to see the code of other published games, as someone might want to keep their code to themselves. However, anyone can share code, templates, UI that they've created in packages that other users can import to their games and look through. We also provide 3 example games that showcase a full game built from a starter game, and you can make copies of those to snoop around in.
You know, as much as I'm pro open source and sharing code so everybody can learn, this is the best way to get people really involved in Crayta, because they could possibly build careers and start jobs just off of making stuff for Crayta. And obviously they don't want everybody to easily copy and paste their work, or they could even sell code packages. So this is really a good way to handle it. This is how you get professional people to dedicate full time to creating stuff in Crayta. How will seasons work? Similar to battle passes?
Not quite like battle passes in the first instance. We're currently planning on adding a bunch of content to the game, some of which will be free, all the creation content will be, and some cosmetics and others can be bought through the store. Plus we've got lots of plans for giving content away through other mechanics in the future.
Oh, I'm glad they asked that question. I didn't even know they had battle passes or season passes or whatever, so we're gonna have to see how that rolls out. It's good to see that they're focusing on long-term monetization, because that's how games like this stay alive and they keep evolving. If they weren't generating any revenue after the initial sale, eventually they would dial down on updating the game. So it is good they have it in there. It's also good that you don't have to have it. It's all optional. Realistically, how competent would I need to be to create actual events and actions?
It really depends on what the event's actions are. A simple example might be a door that opens and closes. There's a package for this that will be provided at launch, and you can then use the event property on it to connect something like interaction or collision with the object to a function on the door script, like opening or closing the door. Those sorts of interactions require no coding, so it's just down to which packages you can find and if they suit your purposes.
I'm glad he brought up packages, because I want to add this in. A lot of code is going to be reused between games. I expect to see plenty of packages that have all sorts of stuff like opening and closing doors, flying through the air, and all sorts of stuff. I don't think you're going to have to write too much code, minus what's absolutely unique to your game. I know you guys are launching tomorrow, but what does the next year look like for updates? What are the current update schedules? How long do you plan on supporting this game? Thanks, I'm super excited to try it tomorrow.
The next year, and on into the future, is sure to bring a lot of new and exciting features to Crayta, and very much depends on what features everyone wants. We're going to allow users to suggest and vote on what features they want, and we'll weigh up the requested features and implement them as we can. We really plan to support Crayta for the long term, so who knows the features it might have in a few years from now.
Yeah, this game definitely has the potential to be the next Roblox. Once again, the only thing that's going to slow it down is Google. Google needs to hurry up and come out with that free trial system so people can just press a button and jump in the game. Avoid paying up front, avoid putting in credit cards, avoid signing up for Pro. Just let them click a button and try the game. And then after they play for an hour or so, ask them if they want to sign up. If they do that, this game has the potential to take off. So Google, the ball's in your court on this one. What sort of persistence does Crayta allow? Can players have a persistent inventory they carry over from session to session, or is everything instanced?
Currently, Crayta allows the game creators to save data to the user, in the form of a Lua table can contain strings, numbers, booleans and other tables. This data will persist between sessions. A good example of persistent data on a user is Tumbleweed Ridge, one of our launch games, which saves not only your inventory, but also the current state of your farm in-house.
The simple fact that they allow you to save data between sessions is a much bigger deal than you think it is. That alone will open the door to games that you're probably not even thinking about right now. Can't wait to see how it's used. What would need to happen for you guys to consider Crayta a success? What are you hoping to see from the community tomorrow and onward?
From an art point of view, success is people's imaginations running riot with the props, voxels, effects, tools, etc. that we've provided. We carefully curated lists and lists of items we thought would inspire people to make innovative games. So if we see that coming out, then that's a win for me.
To them, they probably already consider it a success, especially because Google is sponsoring them. It's one of the few Google Stadia only games, and it has a long lifespan simply because of that. So they're already stoked. Talk about job security. Is game development all up to the community and indie devs, or will Crayta team be making games too?
We're expecting that the community will quickly end up making loads of games, and that many might be better than ours too, which would be awesome, smiley face. But we'll continue to improve our games and potentially create some new ones as well.
Oh, that's good to know they're going to keep making games alongside us. As long as the Crayta team doesn't have special tools that we don't have access to, the games the community makes will probably be better than the games they make. Or let me rephrase that, because a lot of games the community make are going to suck, but you're going to see a lot more gems come out of the community as opposed to the gems they create. The best thing that Crayta team can do is make example games and templates, and that way people that are new at coding can use those as jumping points for their ideas. And I hope that's the direction they go. When you say exclusivity, is that Timex or full? Also, how has the reception been outside of the Stadia community and in the community for this game's genre?
We're a first on Stadia title, which means we're theoretically a timed exclusive rather than full. However, I say theoretically because we currently have no plans to bring Crayta to other platforms. We love what Stadia is doing and we think it aligns perfectly with our goal of making game creation accessible and giving players a ton of diverse games to play. In terms of the reception, because we're currently Stadia exclusive, that's generally been where we've seen the most interest, but the bits we've seen from outside the Stadia community have been very positive as well. For example, with indie devs who applied as part of our Indie Fund program last year, we had a pool of money to give to indies who created games for Crayta's launch and to help test our tools.
You know, I wouldn't be too surprised if Google isn't trying to wait and see how well the game does and how well it's received before they approach them with an offer to buy the game and make sure it stays Stadia exclusive forever. But we're gonna have to wait and see on this one. But it's good to hear that right now they're fully focusing on the Stadia build. They're not dividing their attention between multiple platforms. That's good for us that want to play it on Stadia. Can we make our own characters for our games other than the pre-made ones?
You can at the I'm afraid, although there's a fairly broad range of customization you can do: hair, skin tone, eye color, body shape, facial hair, makeup, etc., as well as outfits to make the character your own, with a lot more planned for the future.
Yeah, I'm happy with this. You can just modify the characters they already have, plus add accessories to it. Also, knowing they're adding more cosmetic options down the road is also nice. So as is, I don't have a problem with it. The main focus on this game are the games. So hey, I don't really care, dude. Is there any kind of version control?
We don't support source control. We instead allow you to roll back if your game goes really badly wrong.
I'm okay with this because actual real source control is probably going to be a little bit too much for people that are new to programming in general. The ability for it to automatically generate states for you to roll back in time to will probably be enough for most people. Can the scale of the characters be adjusted? I was thinking about an Attack on Titan sort of thing. 1 or 2 players or building size that was slow moving versus 15-ish person size.
Characters in Crayta remain at the same size throughout all games and even into the editor, so the giant characters idea wouldn't work. I can imagine through some smart Lua scripting you might be able to kit bash a big robot or something that the player is inside, that walks around as your character moves inside it, and you could then keep moving the character back, but use their inputs to drive the robot.
Ooh, that does kind of suck. That does seem like a limitation. It might stop a few ideas from happening, but I'm glad he was able to quickly give you a workaround, so you at least have that. Is it possible to create single-player games with Crayta, like a simple Pokemon game? My son is asking. Yeah, your son was asking? Okay, yeah, okay.
Currently, a game on Crayta can have a maximum player limit of between 4 and 20 players, so it doesn't support strictly single-player games. However, you can create games where a single player can play by themselves, and also interact with others. For example, Tumbleweed Ridge, one of our launch games, allows users to manage their own farm, and then they can also visit other players' farms.
Yeah, so there you go. Seems like you can still pull it off. I recall that at one point, y'all said the map size isn't a limiting factor, but the resources and asset complexity is. What do you mean by that? How large can a map be? And what is meant by asset complexity?
Hi, Crayta has a few limits in place to keep the game stable and ensure reasonable load times. Worlds can be any physical size you like, but the complexity of the voxel geometry in them is restricted, e.g. rolling hills are more expensive than flat plains. The good news is that you can go pretty big before it becomes an issue. Huddle for Warmth is the biggest game we have at the moment, and it's nowhere near the limit. The other main restriction is on the number of entities you can have in the world, currently 5,000, plus a bit of wiggle room during play to account for more players, spawning pickups, projectiles, etc.
So it looks like you're not going to be able to make a big open world game, but you can create a pretty decent sized level. Along these lines, do you have any basic tips around performance optimization?
We've made it easy to keep an eye on performance. There are tools in the editor to see how the graphics, server scripts and client scripts are doing. It's good to keep an eye on the lighting. It's easy to put down shadow casting lights that are bigger than you need. There are simple things to speed up Lua too, like ensuring to declare variables as local. The event properties are really good for telling other scripts about changes, rather than having them all poll for an update every frame. E.g. your game manager script could have an on-score changed event that UI listens for, rather than have the UI ask the game manager for the score every frame.
Yo, those are good tips. I'm telling you right now, pause the video, and you need to write down everything he just said or create a timestamp to this point. Those are very important tips. Remember that when you're creating your level. Remember that when you're writing your code. Hello, player animation doesn't look natural in my opinion. Will you add an animation pack like parkour or so on? Will you add some more emote animations like Destiny 2? Good luck on your launch.
The core animation set is something we look to adding to and improving over time. Parkour is definitely on the list, and emotes, we have them.
I'm glad he brought up the animation, man. They run around like they have sticks shoved up their ass. They really do. Like I said, it's not a deal breaker. I'll play the game. But I think the animations, at least the ones I've seen, are easily the weakest part of the game. Once again, it still looks better than Roblox. Dreamscom is live right now. Do you plan to have a similar event for Crayta?
Yes, we certainly want to showcase as much great and refreshing content as possible that comes from the community. Rewarding the creators was also the reason that we drew up our monthly prize fund.
I'm calling it right now. The next Stadia Connect is going to have a big Crayta segment. Would it be possible to create a racing game with features such as CTR or Mario Kart, e.g. with power-ups and weapons on your car?
Currently we don't support vehicle physics, though it's on the roadmap. At launch we'll be publicizing ways of voting up features on the roadmap, and it's a feature I'd love to do, so please do request it.
So they won't have vehicles on release, huh? Look, man, all you gotta do, create like a block or a box or anything out of voxels, make your character jump inside of it, and you can easily script it and code it to behave like a vehicle. Now, you see how I just hooked you up with that workaround? Your boy Twiz. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, man, because I didn't even have to do that. Can you set a fixed camera and make a 2D game?
You can do. The character is still 3D obviously, but a side-on or top-down camera are good for this sort of experience. Worth experimenting with.
Oh wow, I wasn't even thinking about making 2D games. You could easily make a game that plays kind of like Super Mario World 3D. That wasn't even on my radar. Good question. Is there an option for an asset library to be shared? Like if I'm really good at creating statues of voxel Greek gods, could I publish them so anyone can search for Persephone and drop it in their game?
Yes, there's a community content browser where you can share voxel models you make alongside other assets, scripts, UIs.
Dude, that is such a good idea. Oh man. This way, people that just want to write code, they don't have to worry about making levels and just pull it from the asset library. I guess in a similar way, people that don't want to write all their code from scratch will be able to download code packages. They're really making it easy for people to share creations and help each other out. That is an awesome idea, man. And you're going to see plenty of props and stuff added because of that. More props than the team can even add themselves. Good job, Crayta team. Good job. Will it support family accounts out of the box? I have 2 kids who fight over who is the boss and both like Crayta.
Crayta will be looking to support a lot of Stadia features into the future. When the family sharing feature becomes available on Stadia, Crayta will automatically take advantage of the feature, as it's a feature on the accounts more so than the specific games.
Look, I don't know anything. I'm just saying don't get your hopes up. I don't know if family sharing is literally going to let everybody in your family all play the game at the same time. I think it's going to work similar to Steam, to where your family just has access to your library of games, but only one person can be on your account at once, or at the very least, one person can be on each game at a time. I hope that's not the way it is, but I'm telling you right now, don't get your expectations too high. If I'm right, your best bet is to wait for Crayta to go on sale and then buy them both copies of the game for dirt cheap. And don't forget, Stadia Pro right now is free, so you can just make them a bogus email account and just sign them up for free for a couple months until you can get that sale you need for Crayta, so they can still play it. They're just gonna need their own accounts. Alright, that seems like a good stopping point. I'm your boy Twiz. Don't forget to like, comment, follow, and subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for supporting my channel. Laters, y'all.